What is going on, guys? Welcome to Extreme Daily Drivers. It is another Toaster Tuesday. It is amazing how quickly these days come around. And today's a little bit of a sad day, but I don't want to get into that right now. If you guys have been watching this channel over the last 9 months, man, we have modified the XB almost every single week. Over the last 9 months, I have sprinkled in a couple of Miata videos in there. We had a thing going called Miata Mondays, but honestly, with a full-time job, this YouTube thing, man, I just didn't have the time during the week to make consistent, good kind of material for you guys to enjoy. So I want to put in the Miata on the back burner, and it's been solely XB content. And man, we have done so much to this car. It's been so much fun. Let's talk about real quick a couple of the things that we've done to this car over the last 9 months. So for starters, man, let's start at the front of this car. So if you guys remember, I had a jacked up front end of this car. It was a real mess. And I found this nice lower lip here at a junkyard and wound up bringing it home and fixing it up and bringing it over to Surratt Performance Garage, where he was able to not only spray that, but also my OEM bumper. So the front bumper still looks amazing. At the same time, I went ahead and swapped out some aftermarket billet grills that I had installed and put in these nice OEM ones. Fits perfect, looks the part, and we didn't stop there. We went ahead, installed some fog lights, right? Remember that? And some new headlights with this kind of like sweet, badass kind of dark look to it, right? This sinister look. I went ahead and found an OEM grill, painted that flat black. And the thing on this car that everybody asks about, everybody wants to know, where did you get this piece? What is this piece? Where do I get this piece? Oh my God, I need to have this piece. Well, guess what? I needed to have this piece too. And when I first got this XB 5 years ago, that was one of the first things I said to myself, man, I'm going to get one of those. And what it is a front face finisher, or an FFF, all right? I got this from a guy who was making them, and I think he lived in Seattle. I forget his name, but he was on Facebook, and he was advertising that he was making these. I hit him up. He sold it to me. I think it was $275 or something like that. It's fiberglass. It is a kind of a repo that he made off of the original JDM piece, which they no longer make anymore. And he made it, shipped it to me. I actually reached out to him after receiving it and installing it. I loved it so much. I said, dude, you've got to be selling these things nonstop, man. They're beautiful. They're awesome. You should be, going crazy selling these things. And the guy said to me that he's probably going to stop making them because of the fact that they are so hard to ship. Because it is fiberglass, it is kind of a flimsy bowed piece, and he just it's not worth it to him. So anyway, that's this piece, man. I got this a long time ago, but everybody asked about it, so I gotta kind of throw it in here on our little review. But yeah, front face finisher, that's the story behind that. All right, so staying in the front of the car, man, let's talk about all the cool stuff that we did to the engine bay. All right, so starting off, I did a really cool kind of transformation video where I showed you guys how I kind of shaved down the valve cover and painted it along with this strut bar brace that came with the car. It's made by Hotchkiss, if you want to know, what it is or where you can get it. I think you can still find this stuff somewhere on the internet if you look hard enough, but these really aren't that rare. But love the way that came out with cool little VMS Racing little oil cap there. After we did that, we did some HID headlights and fog lights. You guys remember that? Yeah, they still work totally awesome. People ask, am I still happy with them? Yes, I'm still happy with them. I'll go ahead and turn them on for you real quick so you guys get a taste. Love the way these things look as they're warming up. Check it out. They just totally change color as they get brighter and brighter and brighter. So cool. So yes, still very happy with the HID headlights. Everybody always cries whenever people get HID headlights and put them in the OEM assemblies. Oh man, you're blinding everybody on the road. Oh man, you should be in jail driving around with those things on there. Your scattered light pattern and blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. I've never been flashed. I'll repeat. How long has it been now? It's been like 6 months, dude. Never been flashed with these on. They're aimed properly. They're low enough. They give out an amazing light pattern. I've passed cops, I've driven behind cops, never any issues, man. So don't listen to all the haters out there who hate HID setups. This thing has been going strong, and super happy with this. So after we did the HID install, I think the next thing we did was this cool intake. You guys remember this intake video, man? I know you do, because a lot of you guys have watched it. It's been one of my better XB videos. This thing has been going strong, been awesome. No issues, no check engine light. It's been fantastic. This little block off thing is still here. No issues with any kind of crankcase venting. My little Yaris battery still going strong, no issues. And to help kind of strengthen our electrical setup as much as possible, you guys remember we did the big 3, right? Remember this red cable I ran here, and our ground back here for the battery and all sorts of stuff. The big 3 has been a big help. I can tell you that right now. When I start my car and I put it on the ignition, my little heads-up display always tells me voltage, and I'm at 14.4 or 14.5 or 14.3 every single time I start my car, which means I'm getting the most out of this electrical system. Even with an amp installed, even with the headlights on, even with the stereo on, I'm still getting super strong voltage. So that big 3 was awesome. So we're pretty much done under the hood. Let's talk about wheel and tire setup and suspension, right? That was a really big deal and put a lot of time, a lot of effort into making that right. And I think I have kind of the suspension height that I want with the stance that I want, and been pretty happy with it. So to start off, let's talk about our wheel setup, right? So we have these Koenig decograms, 15 by 7.5, okay? The tires are 205 5015 Nitto Neogens. And I got these sweet lug nuts. Check them out. I got those guys off of eBay. And for the front, this is the ride height. The fender, top of the fender is just about 23 inches off of the ground. I like this setup because I am not rubbing or scraping or anything in the front. And if you guys do remember, or you don't, I don't know if I even put it on the video, but I do have a 15 millimeter spacer back here. All right, so it's really pushing that wheel out. As well as, remember when I did the camber bolts, there's about, what, -1 degree of camber on here? Is that what I finished up with? I can't remember. But I am pretty happy with this fitment. It looks good. It performs well. I'm really happy with the way it is in the front. All right, so now the back. The back was a lot of trial and error went into this. I didn't always film it, but this is probably like my 5th ride height, to be honest with you. It's been up and down, up and down, up and down. But I decided to settle on this ride height because I have these spaced out a ton in the rear. So if you guys remember, I do have 15 millimeter hub spacers on here, which kick the hub out, as well as 15 millimeter spacers behind the wheel, just like in the front. So if you look at this from the rear, if you look down the line there, you can see just how well the tires kind of lined up with the fender for the front and the rear. Now, I also did add some negative camber to the rear here with one washer on the bottom of the hub bolts to give this tire a little bit of a tilt. So I'm really happy with this so far. You can see, man, my tires are so scarred up. I mean, even with me kind of rolling these fenders as best as I could, they're still got cut up. But it's not scraping anymore. So all that's kind of behind us. where it should be clear sailing from here on in. And yeah, I got to a point where the car was so low that I really kind of feel like it was no longer all that kind of useful. And if you guys know, I use this car like a truck. I'm constantly loading things in and out of it. It's had several engines in the back of it. I use this car. So having it be so low that it's ridiculous wasn't going to work for me. All right, let's move around to the rear of the car here. Now, you guys remember the transformation that took place here. Of course, I have this awesome spoiler here that I got from BB Bunny Boss. Fit and finish on it is totally awesome. As you guys can see there, super happy with the way this looks. And Randy, of course, from Surratt Performance Garage, he's the guy that does all the painting. He went ahead and put his little touch on it by putting this little black paint back here. Turned out totally awesome. And while we were at it, we went ahead and resprayed the rear bumper and added this awesome Honda Civic rear bottom lip to give it that just really cool look. So I couldn't be happier with the way this turned out, man. I mean, it just looks the part absolutely perfectly, and I love the way it shows off my little DME Axleback exhaust. So speaking of Surratt, man, how can we forget these awesome mirrors that he painted for me? I gotta tell you, man, these are my favorite addition to the car. I absolutely love these. I got them off of eBay, They were like $35, $39. They were super cheap. I remember when I bought them, I didn't have the money, but I saw them and I was like, oh my God, I gotta have these things. So here they are, totally functional. They're power mirrors. They work with the stock buttons, and super happy with them, man. They just are just so cool to me. They're just so different, and that's why I love them so much. All right, let's move up to the roof. Yeah, that's right, I said the roof. And you guys remember I did an Inno roof rack review. This thing is awesome, and I love it. Can't say enough good things about it. It is expensive. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you want something good, you gotta spend some money. But I went ahead and did a little cargo basket up here. Really cool little thing. Have I used it? I actually have. I put a Christmas tree up here. Yeah, when we got our Christmas tree this year, we threw it on here and strapped it down. I just love the way this thing looks, man. It doesn't serve really much function besides looking super cool, but really just, it's a fun thing to have on the car. And who knows, maybe someday I'll throw a spare tire up here, or maybe Kelly and I will go camping somewhere really far away and we'll have to put a whole bunch of gear up here. It's nice to know that it's there. It adds absolutely nothing negative to the car, aside from possibly weight and where it's placed. Obviously, the higher up you put anything, the more effect it may have on handling, but it creates zero wind noise. I promise you, zero wind noise, and just a really cool, kind of fun little thing. So to finish up with the exterior, let's talk about the front windshield. I got this thing replaced. It had a couple cracks and dings in it like every XB on the road, but got a nice new windshield, and I got it tinted. I think it's 50% tint on here. The guys over at A&G Graphics did it, and they also did the awesome kind of blackout strip up top and the really cool graphics here. This says Toyota in Japanese if you don't know what it says, but really, really kind of cool. And then they finish it off with this awesome kind of Toyota style racing stripes there. The guy Maniac over at A&G Graphics, he is the best. I can't say enough good things about him. He also has an XB, and he's got that Ghostbuster themed one. I actually did a video on it, and such a cool guy, such a cool guy. All right, now let's move to the inside of the car. Do you remember the steering wheel upgrade I did? That's right. Went ahead and made myself kind of a BB proper steering wheel for this car. Wrapped it myself with the leather wrap. Remember that? I got it from China. It took like 4 months to get to me or whatever, but because the pandemic was going on. But man, it turned out totally awesome. Love the steering wheel. I can't even imagine going back to stock wheel. This is such a great upgrade. Airbag works, horn works, everything works. We also went ahead and did our little shifter here. Do you remember this? Yep. Did all sorts of things to the shifter. Went ahead and shortened the throw. Put this nice little boot on here. We got a weighted shift knob. Love this thing, man. It does make it so much more precise than what it was originally. And of course we got our car stereo, this Hi Kitty 9-inch display. Love this thing. Everybody always asks about these knobs. I got these things off of eBay. They are for this car. If you just go to eBay and you search on SignXB knobs, here they are. What else are we doing here? How could I forget? We did the speakers in our dash, down in the doors. Huge upgrade over what we had previously. So not only did we do the front speakers, you know we did the rears, right? We had to take all this stuff apart in order to do it. And while we're at it, we went ahead and installed this awesome 8-inch bazooka subwoofer, which is just so much fun. So you know we didn't just stop at a head unit speakers and a sub. We went ahead and basically sound deadened the 2 front doors, the rear hatch, and I actually sound deadened the rear area where the speakers are. We use that stuff Kill Mat. Turned out awesome. Can't recommend it enough. It makes a huge difference. Doesn't necessarily make the car quieter. Okay, you need a different product if you want to do that. But what it does is it cuts down on rattles, and it cuts down on any kind of noise that may be affecting your sound in any way. So great stuff. Highly recommend it. I think that brings us to our last video that we did, which was this guy right here. A little backup camera. Remember that? Yeah, that was a lot of work, man. It was a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. But now that I've been using that backup camera for about a week, I really love it. I use it all the time, and it actually is really helpful. I still find myself looking over my shoulder and using my mirrors because I'm a good driver. It's another thing to look at when you're backing up to make sure that you don't like run over somebody. So that kind of does it on the XB, man. Comment below if I've left something out. I'm sure I probably have. We've done so much in the last 9 months, but man, this has been such an awesome build, such a fun daily, and that's why I'm going to be sad to... So I know what you guys are thinking. I know what you're all saying right now. Did I sell it? Is this thing going? Is something coming to replace it? And the answer is absolutely not, man. We are not selling the XV. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be still my daily. We didn't do all this work to it just to get rid of it. But what we are going to be focusing on is this thing, okay? For the next several weeks / months, this is going to be the Tuesday video, all right? The XB is going on the back burner because, as you can see, we have bigger fish to fry. Now, if you guys don't know the story behind the Miata, I bought this thing for $200, okay? $200 from a buddy of mine. It does not run, all right? So don't even ask. But I have pretty much everything to make it run, all right? And that's what's gonna be coming up in the next couple videos. We are going to work on this thing and get it going. So I know you guys are awesome subs. I know you guys are going to tune in. There will be videos on Tuesday, but they are going to be about the Miata and not the XB. But don't worry about the XB, guys. It will be back. Believe me. We've still got big plans for it, and I'm sure we can figure out something to do with it. So anyway, guys, that's the video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next Tuesday. Later.